All right. Welcome. Welcome,
Thank you.
Yasir and Fareeha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the Due Diligence Nugget Sports podcast. And this podcast is meant to educate people in terms of teaching them what are the steps they need to do in regards to any purchase of the real estate, either in the joint venture or just buying their home. What are the due diligence steps they need to do? So
Yeah.
welcome to the show, and really appreciate your time today.
Thank you
Thank you
for
so much.
having us. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Great. Can we talk a little bit about your background, like where you guys coming from, and where you started when you started your journey, and where you are investing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You wanna
Okay.
answer?
Yeah. So I'm working in the finance field. I work as a finance analyst at a food distribution company. For you can tell that.
I'm in the childcare field, so I'm a supervisor at a daycare.
Yep. And we live in Ajax, by the way, Ajax, Ontario. That's where
Awesome.
we're living. And we basically started our real estate investing journey. You could say we actually took the first step last year. June 2021 was when we closed on our first property, but we've been looking into this thing for quite a while now. I think probably like at least 3-4 years. We were kind of just playing with the idea of getting into real
Listening
estate
to
investing,
podcasts.
listening to podcasts, even speaking
Right.
to various people, trying to build a network. So the whole process, I mean, has been going on for like 3-4 years, but we
Yeah.
basically took the first step just
Mhm.
last year.
So
It
the
always
way
is,
we
yeah.
actually took our first step was we had a conversation with a person who works in the mortgage industry, and he kind of gave us some ideas to refinance our current home. So that's really where our journey started. Was we decided to refinance our home and look at what options we would have if we were to get the money. So that went successfully, and that kind of started our journey into real estate investing, because now we had the money. Because a lot of people are hesitant to start because they don't have the money or they don't know where to start. So this is a big way for us to get started. Was we were able to refinance our primary to get into the investing journey.
Awesome. Yeah. First of all, thanks for being in the childcare industry. That is a crazy nuts environment with the kids, especially virtual. So thanks for
Yeah.
doing that.
Thank
And the
you.
food distribution, obviously, we need the food in every table. So you guys, you are in the critical space of the day-to-day operation of the families, you know. So
Yes.
thanks for being there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the smart step that you did here is that when we start the investment journey, many of us don't know where to start from, right? And the element that you brought here today is that you spoke to the mortgage broker first,
Yeah.
and to kind of understand where you stand with your kind of financial part, right?
Yes.
So that's really a good step there, and that gives you an idea what you can afford and what can you invest in, you know.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit, as part of that due diligence that you did,
Mhm.
what are the steps that you took there to say, you know what, I'm going to work with this mortgage broker,
Mhm.
and based on that information, what kind of analysis you took further?
So we actually heard him on a podcast, and his name is Jacob Perez from Synergy Mortgage. And when he was talking about his work, and he was talking about how a lot of first-time people getting into investing, they don't even realize how much equity they're sitting on. So for us, what we did was we actually did our own research. We sat down and we said, okay, what would our house go for? Before we even contacted him, we decided to kind of do our own due diligence, where we decided to look at what houses in our area sold for, and what we purchased it for, and we did our own calculations, because numbers are of course always based on what it would sell for. So we had an idea going into it, because we didn't want to just go into it without knowing anything. So we did our part, where we looked at the comps, we figured it out, and then we actually contacted a realtor as well, who had just sold a house in the area. So we were
Right.
able to get, and there's resources out there like House Sigma. You can just look it up there too. That can give you a lot of good relevant information. So we did that, and then we were able to kind of understand where we would lie with the appraisal. So we did that, and then we contacted Jacob, and we decided to have a conversation. And even at that point, we were still not sure. And he said, just do it, because you never know what the appraisal would come for. So I think that was a big step for us, because we were still hesitant. Like, what if it doesn't come? There's so many what ifs. That's a big thing with starting, is there's so many what ifs that your mindset is at, because you don't know. So he just said, just go for it. And that was our push. When you work with people, when the team you work with has a positive mindset, and they're always thinking about taking the step, that we needed that push. And so I think that was a big thing for us.
Also,
amazing.
One more thing I want to add here is that we did speak to a couple of other mortgage brokers as well. But the thing with Jacob Perez was that he was an investor centric, you could say, mortgage broker or investor focused mortgage broker. So he understood that, okay, if you're going into this for investment purposes, then this is what you need to do, and analyze or assess the equity in your home and use that, leverage that to get into the real estate investing field. So when you speak to somebody who is involved directly in the field, who is, an investor themselves, who works with other real estate investors, that also makes a difference. And that was, again, like as Freya was mentioning, that it was part of the due diligence, and it's a very important part of the due diligence, because you want to be in contact with people who are directly involved in the field. Yes. That's the most important thing, that you speak to people who know. Like, for example, if you're looking for a property, then you deal with a real estate agent who actually deals with other investors, because then they know how to look for properties for investors, as opposed to how to look for properties for, let's say, a first-time home buyer or somebody who's looking for a primary residence. So that was the thing with Jacob Perez as well, that he was investor focused.
Yeah, that is golden. The reason I'm saying it's golden is that usually all of us, we have in our circle at least a family member that is a mortgage agent.
Yes.
Right? So, but they are not investor centric, right? So that's the difference, right? When I started, it was in the community where, I knew a friend who started the journey in the mortgage industry, and I gave him all my mortgages there, when I started, in 2008. But realizing later is that, you need an investor oriented, because as you grow, they need to be able to figure out how to kind of navigate through your portfolio and then still get you the mortgage that you want, So that is an amazing approach, because you start that from the beginning, compared
and it's okay to talk to different people, because you want to find someone who aligns with your goals, and you want to feel comfortable with that, because once you're in it, it's harder to get out than to just say no from the start. So it's okay to talk to several people and get their ideas and really understand, because it's a business, right? And you're giving them your business. So you want to be 100% comfortable giving them your business, and before you actually take the steps. So we talked to many people actually before we went with Jacob Perez.
Not bad. Like from 2 years of analyzing, and then 2021, when everybody in the industry was scared, the regular home buyers were scared, and you jumped in, took the advice, and you just jumped in there, calculated advice, which is
it was
awesome.
Very seamless for us. It was very seamless, because again, it's because of the team you're surrounded with. It's the people you're surrounded, and it's so important to evaluate that yourself as well, wherever you are in your investing journey. Sometimes you could be at 10, like if you're at at a higher number, and you're still around people who haven't started yet, or are at 1 or 2, maybe your goals are not aligned at that point. So you have to kind of look elsewhere. That's why they say, right, your network is your net worth, because who you surround with, who you want to be surrounded by, is so important.
Yeah, it only takes one person with even one property to guide you through the journey, like to navigate through all this, right? Because that's kind of helping you with even the due diligence, because people need to understand all the due diligence that you're doing, it's really reducing the risk, it's and it's giving you the comfort to sleep at nighttime, and that's what due diligence is about,
Yes.
So I will give you an example. When I was doing the property, and the kids were when I started in 2008, and my kids were about maybe 10-year-old at that time. Okay. One of the due diligence I was giving them is, as I was driving with the kids in the van, and I will tell them, look for these bungalows and check if there is a side door on the side of the driveway, and they will tell me that one has it, that one has it, right? And the reason of that, because at that time I was doing a Brampton, I was looking for duplexes, like a future duplexes, you know. So part of the due diligence, you know, as you select the property that you want to invest in, you know.
Yeah.
So what happened after now this journey that you took the action? Where did you end up investing, and why did you invest there?
So we started, all our properties are currently in Windsor. So the way we got started was once we had the money in our hands from our refinance, now we were like, okay, now what? Where do we go? What do we do? Because that is a lot of times people have this thing about now they have the funds, but they don't know where to go. They don't know where to look. So we joined a whole bunch of Facebook groups, and we started keeping an eye on them, reading about them and things like that, and learning that a lot of people put deals on there. So there was a particular deal that caught our eye, which was for a JV in Windsor. So we reached out, and there was a bunch of people who reached out. We just put our email address and we said, you know, interested, please email us the back package. And that person, our JV partner, reached out to us, and we kind of started our communication. So we first did a Zoom call, even before we decided we were going to get into it. And this was something that we learned. We learned a lot. Was we decided to do a Zoom call first to really learn about what the person wants and what they would need from us and what they're going to bring to us. So we kind of had a conversation about that. And then they said, you know, there's a bunch of people who have reached out to me, so I'll get back to everybody. And then anyways, he selected us, which we felt really excited about, because we were like, okay, this will be a first step. And so our first property is in Windsor. It's a duplex, and it has 2 units up and down. And it was a very easy process. We were the money partners, and our JV partner was the active partner, because they had a lot of experience already. And that's one of the greatest ways we feel benefited us the most to get into this, was we were able to learn from this. And we were very scared when we first got into it, because we didn't know, right? There's so many what ifs, there's so many not things you don't know. And so doing the JV right from the get, our first property really helped us, because we were able to observe, we were able to ask the questions, and we were able to see what questions our JV partner was asking, things that we didn't even think about, which really helped us. So that was kind of how we got started.
Awesome. So basically your first get-go was joint venture property.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing way of learning. I mean, this is this is almost like you paying the tuition fee, right? Like I always tell people, you know, I always tell people, whatever you can learn, or whatever you know, look at the if you have a property and you end up having some sort of a negative outcome, you know, it is, don't look at it as totally negative, because the outcome of that is you learn, you know. It is a tuition, because nobody else will teach you that, and the university don't teach you that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's almost like you're investing, you're paying for the tuition to learn, you know. That's an amazing way of starting it. So it's interesting. You said that your active partner is selected you guys, right?
Yeah.
So let's flip the coin a little bit, right? Because this is all about due diligence, right? I'm interested on understanding what is the due diligence. Now that you were excited that he selected you, you must have gone to say, oh my God, what next? You know, after the Zoom call, did you have a coffee with him? Did you have a feel? Because this is 2021, I'm assuming.
2021, yeah.
Right? So it's still kind of, you know, lockdown, but whatever, you know. But how did you go through that and feeling that, okay, he selected you, but did you select him? Can you give me some ideas of what you did?
Right. So we were also, you could say we were doing our due diligence as well, because we wanted to make sure that we were getting in to this with a partner who knew what they were doing. We didn't want to get in and, you know, like be in a situation where we don't know anything. It's our first property. The person that we're getting involved with, they don't know anything. We wanted to see what the experience of this partner was as well. So when we had our first Zoom call with them, then we also asked them that, okay, what is your experience in the field? what is your portfolio,
Yeah.
and what is your experience with, like how to invest and where to invest, and how to go about this. So we also asked them these questions as well. We wanted to be sure that, okay, if we're going to be JVing with someone, if we're going to be the money partners, then we need to know that our money is being tied up in a venture that, there's some sort of assurance that it's going to be utilized in the right way.
Yeah.
So we needed assurance of that, and that's where our JV partner, he told us that okay, he has a fairly significant portfolio of a number of properties, and he has experience with this, and he told us that in terms of how we're going to do it, there's going to be a proper agreement drafted, and there are going to be terms and conditions written in that, and everything is going to be done in a proper documented manner. So rest assured that your funds are going to be utilized in the proper way. I'm going to be handling this and this, and you will be responsible for this and this. Everything was basically documented. That was the important thing for us, that we knew that it was going to be documented. We wanted assurance that we were getting involved with the right person. And that's what we determined with them, that, okay, this person is obviously choosing us. They have to make sure that they're getting involved with the right person as well. Okay, we're first-time investors, but we have the money and we're eager to learn. That's what we showed him.
Yeah.
And we also assured ourselves that we're getting involved with somebody who's experienced, somebody who can help us learn the ropes in real estate investing as well. And that's one of the reasons why we grabbed this opportunity as well, because we thought, okay, this is a person who can actually teach us stuff. So that's why we kind of went into this thing with this person.
And also the services he recommended, like to use, like the lawyers and the agent that he used, and just everyone that was involved in the project. They were all very experienced people as well, because we had also done a little bit of research on that part. Like when he suggested a lawyer, we went and looked at the lawyer, saw their experience. So we knew from the get-go, like we were comfortable with knowing that the people working on this project are all experienced people. So that was where our comfort level, our due diligence came in, but also our comfort level was there, where we knew that these are experienced people we can work with.
That is amazing, because you pretty much bought a book with everything in there, references, contacts, by just doing that, right? You just skip the whole thing,
We leveraged a lot of this, like a lot of their services for our second and a third property. We got so much more confident going into our second property because of our experience with our JV. And that's why selecting the right person with the JV is so important, and doing that due diligence, because, and as eager as you are, you want to make sure it's the right person you're selecting. And we really feel that we got lucky, because the person we selected knew it was our first property, and they knew we were willing to learn, and that's why they wanted to work with us.
Right.
Sorry, but I think also along with the luck, it was, we were smart about, being selective, right?
Yeah.
So that's the important thing, that, especially for a first-time investor. The important thing is that if you're going to go in this in a JV, then you have to be selective about your partner. You have to make sure that you're going in with somebody who has good experience, somebody who knows or who can direct you in the right way, that, okay, if you put up this much money, then this is what you will be responsible for. And at the end, we'll have everything documented, and this is what the outcome of the venture is going to be. You have to define the goal. Like if you're involved with somebody who kind of already defines the goal, the end goal of the investment with you, right at the get-go, then that, I think, makes a big difference in terms of making a decision, because then you know that, okay, this person knows what they want, right? If you're just going in with an investor who doesn't know what they want, then there's really no point, because they don't know what the end goal is, you don't know what the end goal is, then there's really no point. So you have to be with somebody who knows what they want, who knows how to get it, and who knows the proper ways of getting it.
Awesome. I wanted to share with you something you just said there. This is a magazine, the Real Estate Wealth magazine.
Okay.
And in there, this one is a couple of years, like 2018.
Okay.
And Paul the Bruzo is one of the realtor and investor in Hamilton, and he was talking about you, me, and the right JV. So he's talking about when you are selecting a JV and you are interested in doing the flip, let's say, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things he talked about is trust. How did you come as part of your due diligence to trust the partnership that you were going to get into? Those key indicators. What are those nuggets that you're looking? It clicked that this, I can trust this This partner.
I think for us, the biggest thing was our JV partner was very transparent with us and they were honest with us. And that to us was very important because they were right from the get-go, they showed us all the documents, they shared everything with us, and they took the time to share it with us. It wasn't like, okay, I'll send it to you later. It wasn't like that. It was very much like transparency. We opened an account together. So we met and we opened an account together. And that was very important because that's a trust thing, right? Like to open a joint account with someone you don't know.
Yeah.
So that was a big trust thing for us. And I think transparency is a big thing. And if you know that your JV partner is going to be transparent and share the right information with you, and how do you know they're being transparent? It's just, you can tell by sometimes just even by the way they're speaking to you, right? And just the way the way they interact, your interactions, a lot of it comes down to interpersonal skills. And this business, a lot of it is about building relationships. And for us, that was a big indicator to us, was that how the person interacted with us. So to answer your question, I think transparency was a big one. Just opening that account, and then we actually did we met for the first time in Windsor to check out the property before we closed on it. So we were able to do that. And the person, our JV partner, actually took us around to check out his other properties. So even that was building our trust because we knew everything he had told us was the honest truth. So those are some of the things that we had.
So you kind of sold some of his portfolios and what he has done to give you that trust as well, you know?
Yep. And we met a lot of his team. We met the property manager, we met the contractors, and we use them even now for our properties because we built that trust from them from the get-go. We know that they come from someone, there's a reputable source that they come from, and we know that their work is good. And so it was very seamless, and we were able to do all of that.
Also, I just want to add here the fact that they were willing to introduce us to their power team, their real estate agent, the property manager, the contractor, all these people, the fact that they were willing to introduce us to them. And right from the get-go, they shared financial analysis with us, all the data, the cap rates and everything about the venture. They shared all of that with us, and they were the ones who said that, we're going to have a formal agreement drafted. There's going to be a lawyer involved. So when you see all these things, in a JV partner, in the active partner, then it just gives a sense of security that you're going in it with the right person because they've done this before, they know how to do it. So for us, yes, it was lucky that we found the right partner, but also once we were sure that this person is taking initiative to do these things, to take the right steps, showing us the property, showing us their own other properties that we're not involved in. They're okay with us to do that just so that we get exposure, introducing us to our power team. When we saw that this person is willing to do all of this for us, then we knew that we were going in with the right person.
That is awesome. Yeah. So I think many, what I've seen, the JV, not everybody will introduce you to their power team, that's something true. Very unique. I mean, he provided you that full transparency, it seems like.
Transparency is the key word.
Yeah. And also communication. I think that's another big piece of it that we haven't talked about, is how great of the communication has been. Even even text messaging, sometimes there's a question we'll just text them and they'll respond back. And so I think there's a lot of that, like transparency, communication, their experience, their interaction with us. Like those are big things of how we're able to trust the partner.
So I think if you're going to, jot down due diligence factors for choosing a JV partner, then I think these are three key things: transparency, proper communication, level of experience, these things.
That is amazing. I know there are some experience. When I'm investing with any JV, first thing I look at, how am I able to communicate with that person? Yeah. How are you interacting with that person? Because money thing is, you can set up the agreements and all that, lawyers, whatever in the, but how are you dealing on the day-to-day operations, right? Like a day-to-day kind of things, right? Like I want to feel comfortable to say, hey, I saw, something in that neighborhood, can you explain me what's going on, Am I concerned with my property, right? So I think those are the things that you want to be comfortable to talk to your partner as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So going to the next little bit. So you guys, it's almost like you hire somebody to learn all of this, by investing your
Yeah.
money into it,
Yeah.
right? And now with that knowledge, you said you are already doing, you are on the third deal, right? Is the
Yes.
second one your own deal, or it's a JV as well?
Yes,
It's our own deal.
it's our own deal.
Okay.
Second and third. And actually, our JV partner was the one who gave us the confidence. He said right from the get-go, he said the first one is your JV. He goes, do your own for the second and third, just so you get that exposure, that experience doing it on your own as well. So our second is our own, our third is our own, and we'll see what happens with our fourth and the fifth.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think this is an amazing journey. I mean, you have learned tremendously here, like, by just having that, relationship that you created,
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we talk about, if you had to pick one or two, like really something that people should never skip as part of their due diligence, what would you suggest? What would that will be? I know Yasir, you mentioned three things. What will be that something that people should never skip?
I think the communication part, because if your JV partner is not communicating with you, that is a red flag to me. If they're not responding back, if there's questions that you have about the property, if there's questions, if they're not present to answer your questions, or there's no meetings or anything like that, I think that is a big factor. So even before you get into the JV, maybe do a couple of meetings just to kind of gauge how they're going to communicate, and really testing their knowledge as well. Because if they're bringing in the money, then really ask them the questions like, where are you getting the money from? What is your plan with the money? Where do you see this JV going? So the same questions that you would have for the active partner, I think you should also ask the money partner. And a lot of times the person may not know, especially if they're getting into it, like if they're new. But it gets them starting, like it gets them thinking, right? It gets them thinking like, oh yeah, where should the money go after 5 years? Where should it be, right? So I think communication is the biggest thing in this JV partnership, because it's a partnership. And
Right.
if you're not communicating, then you can have all the money in the world, but where is it going, right? What benefit are you getting from it?
Yeah, I don't think you will be able to sleep at nighttime, like
Yeah, exactly.
especially you are in Ajax and investment is in Windsor,
In
you don't want
Windsor.
to. And the
Yeah.
thing is, you don't want to go there every weekend,
No, it's too long of a drive.
Yeah.
And our JV partner is actually in Brampton.
Right.
So it's not like we're close by either, right?
Right. Okay, that's amazing. What
Yep.
so when you perform your due diligence there, like basically you pick the property, you kind of sign the agreements, all of that is documented. Can you share a little bit, was there any due diligence done in terms of what will be your exit from
Yes.
from the exit point of view, right? Because
Exactly.
sometimes the joint venture can be, usually they go by the number of years of mortgage,
Yeah.
maybe 5 years, let's say 5 years.
Yeah.
What, as part of your due diligence, what was the exit strategy that you drafted?
Right. So in the JV agreement, we did have a clause written out for the exit strategy as well. And we, of course, decided that before the agreement was actually drafted. When we had our first communication, we decided that, okay, first of all, this is going to be the purpose of the joint venture. And what will be the exit strategy for both of us? We have to decide that, okay, if one partner decides to leave, what will the second partner do? If the second one decides to leave, what will the first do? And like that, basically. So we did have an exit strategy in mind for the property. We decided on that before we actually went into the formal agreement. And then once, of course, everything was done and written, once everything was written out and documented, and then in the agreement, we had the exit strategy actually written out that, we're going to have this JV agreement for this amount of time, like for, let's say, for a period of 1 year, we will hold it. And then after that 1 year, we will continue renewing it as needed, or if one of the partners or if both partners decide that, okay, after 1 year let's decide to sell the property, then we'll go ahead and sell it. Or if one of us decides to not be part of the venture, then the other will buy out the share. So exit strategies were of course were defined. And also, if we're going to be selling the property after 1 year, after whatever length of time, then what will be the according to what percentage will the proceeds be shared. So all these things were drafted. So we did draft out that, and we we made sure that all of this was decided first and then documented in the JV agreement.
And we did some research on our own as well. Like you're talking about the due diligence part, we actually did our own research of what a successful JV exit strategy would look like. So we had the option of doing, like, we had some ideas of the 1 year, the 3 year, the 5 years. So we had an open discussion about it, of what the benefits were going to be, what the drawbacks were going to be to do it for this long. Because when we first went into it, we knew we needed to refinance it. Like, that was our initial plan. And then our plan was to come up with, figure out what the exit strategy was. And when we first got into it, we didn't think about how important that is, but it is so important, because now we're getting into our 1 year, and now we can go back and look at, does this property work for us at this point in our journey, right? Because everybody has their own journey. And is this working for us? Is this making us money? Is it reaching our goals? So that's something, and exit strategies can always change, but that was something that we were thinking about then too.
Goals, I guess goals are trajectory, right? Like they change, the life happens and things change as well, right? So was there any particular clause that you can share here that is working in your favor as part of your due diligence that you did, and you said to yourself that you must have that clause there?
In our JV agreement, right?
That's right.
I think for us, it was the refinance piece was a big one for us, because we were the money partners, and we knew that we had to get the money out. So we put that in there, that we had to do that right away. And then the division of the money was a big one too for us. Yeah. Because when we refinanced, the goal was to get all of the money out first that we invested. And then the remaining, whatever was left over from the refinance, we would share it equally.
Okay. So pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
So the money partner would get the money first, who was us. So get all our investment out first. And that was actually the conversation, like right from the get-go, that was the first thing we had talked about, because we didn't want all of our money stuck in there. We knew we had to get it out to scale. And our JV partner also had the same mindset. So that was a big thing for us for sure. And then the division of it. Yeah. So we got it out first, and then whatever was left over, we shared it.
Amazing. I think I just learned something. I need to review my JV partnership here. As part of, sometimes you forget this little detail that, you want in 1 year, you want to refinance, get your money out so you can kind of free up yourself,
Yeah, that part. And also there was the other part of how often we would take the money, right?
Right, exactly.
Was that the cash flow part? Like you were talking about the cash flow?
Yeah, right, the cash flow. So that we decided basically that, on a quarterly basis, we would, we would let the cash sit in there. And then on a quarterly basis, we would take out whatever is the cash flow generated. Then we would take that out and divide it amongst ourselves on a quarterly basis. That was also something that was drafted in the JV agreement.
Yeah, that was a clause there too.
That is golden. I have not seen a particular, like I've looked at the JV, JV templates that everybody circulates as investors, but I never come across to that detail where, 1 year or, first year, you're going to split this way, or every quarter you're going to do that. I haven't seen that. So that is amazing. I just learned something totally new that you guys, you did your homework there,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So based on the notes that you said, your journey now it's your turn to look for JV partners.
Yes.
Right. So
when we get to that point, absolutely, we're going to look for JV
I think our next property is going to be us looking for a JV partner. So now it's almost the
So we're going to be the
tables have
active
turned.
partner, and they're going to be the
Yes.
money partner.
Yes.
Basically.
It's going to be a flip side. So
Yes.
now it's time to educate you're going to be educating the passive partners as well,
Yes.
based on your
Yes.
previous role as a
Exactly.
passive.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's so important I think, to do that, just to like keep fresh, and there's always going to be new people who want to learn, and we were there not too long ago, so we appreciate all the support that we got, and we are willing to just give back. And we actually have connected with a lot of new investors who have reached out to us and said, can we talk, can we have a chat? And we're always up for it, we're always willing to do it, and we're always here to help.
That's you know what, in general, the investor community, since I started my journey, it is a very open community. People are ready to help. It's almost like my motto has always been that as a Canadian, I want to make sure that everybody builds wealth. So the information should be shareable. It's only sometimes is the family that will get jealous about it, but investors usually are able to learn and share at the same time.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's important to be happy for other people too. I think that should be a
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
In our case, we've been fortunate that our family has been supportive and has been
awesome. Yeah. That is amazing. Yeah, because it really depends. Depends on the background and everything. But
yes.
Let's leave that outside.
Yeah.
There is a big community that we can give shoulder to each other.
Definitely.
This has been very golden there. So tell me a little bit your plan, where now you are at the third property. You're working on it, I'm assuming. Where are you going next? Like what's your journey look like?
So we'll kind of walk you through what our process is right now. The second property we have, it's currently under reno, so we're actually considering doing a short-term rental on that. And the reason we decided that was because of the location that it's in. It's next to the waterfront and right by the border. So we are looking into an option of doing a short term. And then our third property, we're closing on in March. But after that, our next plan is to do a flip. We haven't done a flip yet.
Awesome.
So we kind of want to get into that experience as well, just to also build some funds. That's our main goal, is to build some money, a good amount of cash to invest for a multiplex. Our goal next is multiplexes, like 4plexes and 6plexes, because right now all our properties are duplexes. We feel like we got really lucky with not doing the single family homes. So all of them are duplexes, but we want to stay in the multifamily, and we want to scale with the multifamily.
Awesome. So what is amazing here is that you started with duplex. They always say having one part of the due diligence why you want duplex is the chances are, in my 10 years of investment, I never had both tenant vacant, living at the same time. So it's always a part of your formula where losing 50% is better than losing 100%, right? So that's the compounding kind of as you go more in the buildings, one person leaves, you're not crying,
Exactly.
That's amazing. We are getting very close to our end of the show here, but I have few personal questions which are not the real estate oriented here. So tell me a little bit about any particular book that really throw you out there, accelerated your knowledge that you can share with other real estate investors here.
Well, I started with The Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know everybody says it, but I really did start with that. But that wasn't the book that got us started in the journey. That was more of a mindset shift. So I think that got our mindset changed into building that wealth. And then the other book was Money People Deal that I read. That was a really good one.
Amazing book.
I believe it's by Stefan, I want to say.
Stefano, yeah.
Stefano, yes. And that was a really good book because I really learned about how to how to assess the deals and things
Yeah.
like that. So that's a really
have one of the two item out of the three,
yeah, it's a really, really good book that I think every investor should read for sure.
That is amazing.
For me personally, I haven't really been into reading.
I'm more of a reader.
Yeah, I'm more into listening. I've been listening. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
A lot.
And
Nice.
honestly, I feel that has been it's like a wealth of information in podcasts. And I think along with reading, if one listens to podcasts, especially a person who wants to get into this field, they really should listen to podcasts because you learn a lot from podcasts as well.
Right. I mean, we just created this podcast to accelerate the knowledge, right? The learning process, right? So what you just said there, you just skip the whole, reading of books and all that. You can listen to this.
I'm not discrediting reading books, but I'm saying that that's
it's another option.
It's another option.
Yeah,
well.
Absolutely. I'm more of reading real estate books, but when it comes to novelty and all that, that's kind of my wife's section there and my daughter. My thing has always been just learning about different real estate, books about real estate. Let's go to everybody these days are talking about smoothies. Tell me, you have any favorite smoothies as part of healthy smoothies or any healthy drinks that you prepare yourself?
Yeah, I do. Well, for me, the smoothie that I do is a green smoothie. Every time I'm on like a health nut, I'm a green smoothie person. So I'll do like my spinach, and I always do like fruits in it. So I'll do like pineapple, and I'll do pineapple, blueberries, or something like that. But for me, green smoothies are a big one.
Right. So I see Yasir there shaking his head.
No, I'm not into
not
smoothies.
A smoothie person.
I try, yeah. I'll drink, maybe have like I don't know, like a Gatorade or something once in a while. But I'm not into smoothies.
I thought you were going to say like a mango lassi or something like that.
Oh, no, I love that. I love that stuff. I love that. Every time I go to a Pakistani restaurant, if I can, I always order a mango lassi.
Yes.
Very popular drink, everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up here, how the listeners can find you, where they can find you.
Instagram.
Yeah, so we have our Instagram page that we're actually sharing a journey on. It's Our Investing Journey. That's our handle, and it's just comes up as Yasir and Fareeha. And you can reach us out via DM. We will always respond back. And anytime anybody wants to just chat or ask a question, or we're happy to share. And we should also share a lot of our stories, like while we're going. So last week we were in Windsor and we went and looked at some appliances. So
I saw that.
So we were sharing that, and so many people reached out to me and said, "Oh, go here," or "This is good." Right. So just even I share something, and people are able to look at it and respond back. So Instagram's the best way to get to us for sure.
Man, it's a long drive, and I really congratulate you guys. Having that energy.
Yes.
I'm sure that green smoothie will be very beneficial in the morning drive.
Yes, but we always, the way we plan our journeys to Windsor is we always do them on a Saturday. So then we have the weekend, and we always leave like super early in the morning, just so we can take advantage of the day to do. Like this is the first time we went, and we actually had a lot of stuff to do because we had to go check out our third property, go and check out renos, and then have conversation with the contractors, because it's different when you're on the phone with them versus doing it face to face and seeing the project. So yeah, it was fun, but it was actually work. We felt like it was work, but it was fun work.
Yasir and Fareeha, this is it's been amazing learning and sharing for the community here. Thank you very much for doing this. I'm going to stop the recording, and we can continue the chat later.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.